It's time for the trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen. It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
What's going on with the debt?
It's very disturbing, and it's driven by the three big entitlement programs that are very popular: Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid.
Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. Social Security is totally funded by the payroll tax levied on employer and employee.
That's 70% of what we spend every year. The subject we were just discussing, the funding of the government, is about 30% of what we spend.
If you reduce the outgo of Social Security, that money would not go into the general fund to reduce a deficit. It would go into the Social Security Trust Fund. So Social Security has nothing to do with balancing a budget or erasing or lowering the deficit.
We have some major breaking news. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have identified their first government programs that they want to cut with Doge, and it's really, really bad. Musk, Trump, and Vivek Ramaswamy have already identified $516 billion in government savings. It includes cutting all of Veterans Affairs healthcare, eliminating the NIH, and ending our funding for federal prisons. That journalist from NBC News put this graph together, and just look at this, cutting $119 billion from veterans healthcare, cutting $47 billion from the NIH, making America less healthy, cutting $22 billion from Pell Grants, $12 billion from Head Start, making it harder for people to go to school, cutting $11 billion from the FBI, making it harder for us to fight crime. This is what Trump, Musk, and Ramaswamy want to do with America. I don't know about you, but this all sounds really bad. Cutting veterans healthcare? What's wrong with them? Look, I have no problem with getting rid of government waste. No objection there. But our veterans, America's health, America's education, that's not waste. These are crucial programs helping people who need it most. The fact that they're even considering coming after these programs is just disgusting.
Kash Patel is a delusional liar. Let me just be very clear about that. And he would lie about intelligence. He would lie about making things up on operations. I think Mark Esper has talked about that as well, where he put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk in an operation when it came to Nigeria. These are things that actually were happening in real time when he was in the role of CT coordinator in the White House. And I know this because at some point I realized that I needed to double check Kash's work to make sure that I wasn't misinforming Mike Pence by relying on his word. So I had to go around him. And this is a guy who openly has contempt for people in national security, for people especially at DOJ and the FBI. He made open comments like this. And so I think, there is a little bit of fear here from people where they know that someone like Kash Patel is fully capable of just doing partisan investigations, whatever it takes. It will be insane if he becomes the director of the FBI.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. Good morning. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hopefully this microphone is working. It might only come out on one channel or on one ear, one side, but that's just the way, that's normal. That's the normal. But hopefully you can hear me. Give me a big old thumbs up if you can hear me as I get started here. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome. Apparently, Hal Sparks wasn't able to go on this morning. So this is not an after show hangout. No, my friends. This is a no-show hangout. I'm trying to get this here in front of my face, but also want to leave enough room so I can slurp coffee. I hope that didn't turn off too many people. Some people hate the sound of a slurp. Good morning, everybody. Have you had enough? Have you guys had enough already? I mean, I think we've had enough. Remember on the last show, the CEO of United Healthcare had just been assassinated. And I said I was finding it very hard to muster up any sympathy for that dude. And I felt a little bad. And I was wondering, and I was asking out loud, is there something wrong with me? Is there something very, very wrong with me? Well, that's neither here nor there. I mean, there probably is something wrong with me, but for completely different reasons. But apparently, I'm not the only one who felt this way. I've been watching YouTube videos all morning, or since this happened, about people who just don't give a fuck about that dude getting murdered, and some very very poignant points of view, and in which I agree with a lot of these. Believe me when I tell you, these motherfuckers are quaking in their boots. These CEOs, and not just of the healthcare industry, all of them. This reminds me, if you guys have been watching the response to this murder, to this killing, and then it was what was it, Blue Cross or whoever it was, they on the very same day of this murder, they had come out with saying how they were going to charge more for anesthesia. I think I even talked about it, where you only get a certain amount of time, and if it goes over, they're going to charge you. And I think it was within the very same day, later in that day, maybe the next day, they reversed that. This should be a big wake-up call to these motherfuckers, to these CEOs who have been getting away with murder, basically, and all other types of felonies on down. This reminds me, this is very reminiscent of the Occupy Wall Street movement, the 99% movement. Well, it was more of Occupy Wall Street, but the 99% group I remember was big. I remember I liked it on my Facebook, a Facebook page. And a lot of people say, well, you know, I even think I've heard Hal say that really didn't accomplish anything. Occupy Wall Street, it didn't really do anything, didn't move the needle. But I kind of disagree in that it did wake up a lot of people. And I think out of the Occupy Wall Street movement, we got a Bernie Sanders on the national limelight. I mean, from there, that's when, you know, Bernie Sanders, after that, you know, became a big figure, and so much so that he ran for president, got a lot of votes in that 2016 campaign. And I remember seeing, I don't know, news articles and news stories where the Wall Street crowd, you know, like the big muckety mucks, executives, I saw some of them being interviewed and they looked scared. They looked frightened. They don't like it when we wake up. That's why they make such a big deal about wokeism. They don't like it when we're woke. They don't like it if we stand together at all. And they started seeing people stand together, people from all different groups, people from all different, you know, ethnicities and races coming together in a revolt of the system and of the top 1%. And it scared them. And they shut that shit down, though. You know, they did everything they could to shut it down. But I think you could see the fear in their eyes, in the big, you know, the big executives of Wall Street. And you're going to see it now. You're seeing it now with this assassination or murder or whatever, killing of, was it Brian Thompson or whatever fucking his name was? And how people don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I was telling you the other day, I'm finding it very hard to be sympathetic, and that I should feel sympathy. A man was just gunned down in the street, and I should feel some sympathy for that motherfucker, but I couldn't muster up any, not 1 ounce of sympathy. I'm not saying we need to murder, you know, go on a murder spree, but we do need to come together. We do need to show the top 1% that we can, the bottom 99% of us, we can come together. And that will scare the ever-living fucking shit out of them. And I've heard Randy Rhoads, popular talk show host, left-wing progressive talk show host, in case you don't know who she is. I think it was Randy, was talking about a national general strike, I guess you call it, general strike, whatever. And I think that's a great idea. It's peaceful. You don't storm down through the doors of City Hall or whatever. You just don't go to work. You just don't, just shut this shit down. Shut America down. Because we're sick and tired of big health insurance companies denying our claims. We're sick and tired of, in all services, not just healthcare service, but in all aspects of our life being not listened to, and that the top 1% gets all of the attention and everything. Their needs are always met, but ours aren't. And we need to stand together. And I don't know when this national general strike is going to be. I don't know when we could do it, but someone needs to organize it, and I think we should do it. Don't go to work. And someone left a comment on that saying, you could do that for months or something like that. No one's going to not go to work for months. Okay, I'll tell you that much. But just think, what if, hypothetically, what if every person in America that is of working age just didn't go to work, they didn't shop, they didn't go shopping, they didn't buy gas, they didn't go to work. And if, let's say, this is hypothetical, as I say, everyone did that, we would have the attention of our politicians, we would have the attention of the oligarchs, we would have everyone's attention, and we could probably get some stuff done politically, societally, within 2 or 3 days. I'm just saying. Anyhow, hello, good morning. It is now 11:20 a.m. Pacific time here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It's about 60 degrees. We're going to get a high of 65. And just looking at the chat, let me go to the chat, see who's here. We got 97 watching. Hey, wow. Thank you all for being here, guys. Hal Sparks has been traveling. He's in Florida, and he's doing, I guess it was cancer benefits and some things. And so he wasn't on yesterday afternoon, and he wasn't able to do a show this morning. So here we are. It looks like Surrender Monkey was here first in the chat. Very early, though. I came in. I popped in a couple hours ago, and old Surrender Monkey was there. MJ Daniels here. Fowler's Wrath. Very wrathful person. And then there was me. Okay, I was saying that Hal's not going to be here. Ask is here. 15. Nick Rich is here. Like number 14, 1040. So Nick Rich has been here for a while. Steve Sayers is here. Hey, Steve. Hopefully you guys are still here. These are from a while ago. These chats. Nick Rich says, let's get John started with some fun chat. Good day. Robert Perez, what happened to Hal today? Well, I just explained that. I think I explained it adequately. Nick Rich says, I've been viewing videos suggesting that President Biden pardoned a long list of people, that Don Old has plans of retaliating against the government, the media, and even private individuals. Do it. I say do it. Fucking do it, Joe. I was watching the news that this morning, like Romania is having some really bad problems. Democracy is under attack all across the world, and it starts here. We're losing our democracy, and when we elect a felon, like I have posted here, Trump is a felon, Trump is a rapist, Trump is a traitor. And Trump instigated an insurrection against this very country, and then this very country, 4 years later, elects him back into the White House. That sends a powerful message to the rest of the world that democracy is dying. This experiment failed. That's the message we're sending. And you're going to see democracies all across the world fall because of what we're doing here in America, and we're electing a felon and a rapist and a traitor. An authoritarian, a dictator. That's what we're electing here, and we're sending the message to the rest of the world that that's okay. So we're going to see more Romanians, countries fall to dictatorship. Okay, my chat is just moving along, and I'm not able to scroll back. So I don't know why. I can't go back. So sorry about that if I skipped your name or skipped you being in here. But anyhow, I see John Doe is here. We've got Serena Monkey. Looks like he's back. Jolie's here. Thank you, Jolie, for being here. Nick Rich. John's got a big pair of shoes to fill today. Let's support him. Hey, thank you, Nick, for the support. John Doe. What about oil subsidies? Yeah, I don't think we need to do that anymore, do we? They're a multi-billion-dollar industry, probably the richest industry ever in the history of the world. They don't need subsidies. God damn it. Aaron West is here, so we got Aaron and Jolie. We're at full mod power. Like I said, this chat is moving along, and I for some reason I can't go back. I was going to scroll back to see who I've missed. Sorry about that. If I haven't seen you, but just don't take it personally. But we got Left Wing Gorilla here. We got Bonnie Thompson. Bonnie Thompson says Reagan was right, but fuck Reagan anyway. Oh yeah, about that. But the point of that is how I don't know. I don't think the Republicans idolize Reagan so much like they do. I think they've just totally given themselves to Trump. But for many years, I mean, it was all Reagan. So it's good to kind of put throw Reagan back in their face, when he says something that is true. See, Surrender Monkey. Trump Tower is already unregulated prison for victims. Bonnie Thompson's here. Hey, good to see Bonnie. Doug G. Hello, Doug G. Good to see Doug G in the house, in the driver's lounge. Christina Weibel, here's you. Oh, good. You guys heard me. I got the thumbs up. That's how far behind I am in the chat. Kella Hella's here. Hey, Kella. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. MJ Daniel, disgusting little psychopath, and the rest of the cabinet picks are no better. I think I was talking about the tape. Chris Doug's here. Hey, and we see live. Hey, Big Dog's here. The Big Dog. Good to see Big Dog in the driver's lounge. Chris Doug, retired Teamster. Let's see. I'm just going on down a little bit here. Left Wing can't hear me for some reason. Hopefully you guys could hear me. Christina Weibel. Hal had to get some rest after traveling to Sarasota, Florida. Yeah, he's been traveling around and doing things out there. Chris Doug, HuffPost story said interest dark response to his murder is alarming, but we all know why. And I find it to be actually I mean, I am in agreement to all the people who are not being very sympathetic to this man. I'm totally there. Chris Duck says justice or retribution, or maybe both. I think it could be both. Serena Monkey says there's nothing wrong with you. I, however, need a filter on what I think is funny. Pleading the Fifth says nope, because I have zero remorse or sympathy for that guy, him and those like him. Robert Perez sounds better than a booger Slurpee. Oh yeah, I was slurping my coffee. Yeah. The booger one. Yeah, that would be gross. MJ Daniel says many Americans feel the same way. I am not for violence, but in this country, the way things are being run, I am surprised something like this has not already happened. Chris Doug says all crooked CEOs and politicians wake up to reality. We don't like you. And so many of them, I think, live in this bubble. They don't know, they're out of touch with reality. They don't know how at least the bottom 70% of us, certainly the bottom 70 or 80% of us maybe, we're living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have enough money to cover a $400 emergency. We are one or two paychecks from being out on the street. They don't fucking realize that because they don't give a fuck. All they give a fuck is living their high life. off of our backs. That's all they give a fuck about. So this should offer serve up as a good fucking wake up call to these motherfuckers. John Doe, Anthem Parent Company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Christina Weibel, Anthem Blue Cross announced. See, this thing, it's frustrating me that I can't scroll back. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't scroll back. It's pissing me off because it's just moving. You guys are chatting, and I can't. I start to read one, and it disappears, and I can't go back to it. Anyhow, that's my problem, not you guys' problem. Okay, Chris Doug says, when corporations and government agencies cause harm and death, they should be held accountable. Christina Weibel says, MAGA can't stand us being woke. Well, see, they're a part of the influence campaign. The maggots are part of what Russia has been doing, and the right-wing propaganda machines have been doing for decades, just brainwashing them. So they're the ones that you know, swallow that the woke, that whole woke being bad, woke is, you know, thing. They swallow that hook, line, and sinker. Big Dog NC said, I used to think I didn't have to worry about my health care since I go to the VA, but I'm very worried now. Yeah, these are all the things that these are the hard decisions that are going to have to be made according to these right wingers. The hard decision of, you know, we're going to have to make cuts, and it's going to be in the VA, and it's going to be in Medicare, it's going to be in Social Security. You know, just don't touch whatever's going to, you know, keep them rich. See, the thing is, we could tax rich people more, and they'll still be rich. But if you tax me more, I will be, you know, on the street. I can't afford to pay more taxes. I really can't. But Elon Musk can afford it. He just doesn't want to, because he's a greedy fuck. They're all greedy fucks. All these CEOs, all these oligarchs, all these top 1%ers, they're greedy motherfuckers. Because we could charge them fucking 30%, 40%, 50%. We could charge them fucking 75%, and they will still be rich. Because to me, if you're a multimillionaire, you're rich. I don't know what is Elon Musk supposedly worth now. How many hundreds of billions of dollars is he worth? You know, and if you taxed him down to where he was just a multimillionaire, he's still fucking rich. He's just greedy. He's a greedy son of a bitch. Where no amount of money is ever going to be good enough. That is a sickness. That is an illness. And when people are addicted to something, you need to take whatever it is they're addicted away from them. More and more and more, I am getting on the bandwagon of saying that there should not be a billionaire. Billionaires should not be allowed. No one should be allowed to be a billionaire. You don't need to be a fucking billionaire and have a good life. Hey, Kimchi's here. Good to see Kimchi. Hello to you. Just skipping down here in the chat. Kathy Logan's here. Hey, Kathy, good to see you. I've already started my strike, but only necessary things. Christmas will be simple. But that's one thing. But we need an organized, targeted. If we're going to do that, like a national strike, it needs to be organized, and it needs to be focused and targeted on a single time frame. It's one thing to say, yeah, I'm not going to buy this, I'm not going to do that, and that's fine, that's dandy, and that's great. But I think if we're going to really send a message to the oligarchs, um, there needs to be this a focused day where or a weekend or a week or whatever, where it starts on this certain day and it'll go as long as it needs to go. Hey, the chat is moving along here, you guys. We got 122 watching. I don't know how many thumbs up. Mine says 28, but it doesn't update. But thanks for being here, guys. We're just hanging out. Jojo Mojo Jojo, my favorite name on the internet, is here. Hey, everybody. Hello to Jojo Mojo Jojo. 20106, smooth sounds of 20106 coming at you. 20106 says, the Amazon worker Black Friday strike was a great start. Well, let's get it going. Let's do this. Maybe, do I have to be the one to organize this? Is it going to take Trucker John? Do I have to get the national strike going? See, this thing is just moving, and I can't go back. I saw someone said hi in there. Hey, look at that, non-useful $5 super chat. Thank you so much, non-useful. I appreciate you with that, helping to support the show. And he says, under Trump, we will have protesters jailed if you're in the streets. He said that. Well, you know what? They did that before, too. I remember when Trump became president, he was locking up people who were protesting. So, I mean, I guess we got to be willing to make that kind of a sacrifice, that kind of, that risk. Aaron says, I was a replay crew yesterday for House Show because I was in MRI Tube and he was live. Well, he was live. Oh, you were in MRI Tube. Oh, I've been in that MRI Tube before. Don't breathe. Don't move. Don't scratch any inches. Hey, Tim Farrell's here. Good to see Tim. Hello. I think we're down to just one Tim. We lost the other Tim. I hope the other Tim's okay. Josh is here. Hey, Josh. Good to see you. Good to see Josh in the driver's lounge. Bruce is here. Good to see Bruce. And he wears diapers. I guess we're talking about Trump, hopefully. Turby Cat's here. I'll have to travel 2 hours one way if I want to keep my current health insurance. And it's just a travesty. Trump, saying he wants to appoint fucking Oz. All this. It's just ridiculous. And we just cannot stand for it. We cannot stand for this. Hey, JTF, MFHP, it's not we. I don't know what that's about, but thanks for being here. Christian Weibel, I'm stocking up on stuff here, and my dad's house here in Florida. Rump is an insurrectionist who is violating. This chat is moving so fast today, I cannot read the chats before they disappear, and I cannot scroll back up. So look, there's John Doe. Yep, Romania's court has stopped the election between a Russian-backed candidate and a female Democrat, and then it disappeared. I can't go back. I can't read it. So hey, you guys are a lot of people in the chat, and you guys are zooming it along. You guys are really zooming the chat along here. Those of you that might be new to the Trucker John Show, give you an idea of what the Trucker John Show is all about. Is I read your chats. That's the show, folks. That's the show. Sorry. Maybe I'll go off on another tangent or something. But anyhow, Jan Morgan is here. It says, I did buy a couple of electronics really inexpensive. Figured I'd get them now. Who knows what we are in for in the near future. Prices are going to go up. If Trump does these tariffs, like he says he is, a blanket tariff of all China goods, 60%, and almost everything is made in China, then we're going to see 60% increase in prices. And he's threatening other increases from 25%, 30% in these other countries. So we're going to have at least 25, 30% raises, and anything from China is going to be 60% higher. Yeah, and we need to keep pointing that out too. That this is not because of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. These prices that are going to be going up. This is clearly going to be because of Donald Trump's tariffs. MJ Daniel, the GOP has left Ronnie Reagan far behind in order to worship the orange ass instead. Yeah, absolutely. They don't even, these maggots, they're a whole different breed, man. Mike H here, 226. So what am I, about 17 minutes behind? Chris Doug, yes, AB movie actor with dementia was once the favorite of the Republicans. Yep. And he was a clown. Ronald Reagan was a fucking clown and just a horrible person. But he had this all shucks. Hey, everybody. Well, hey, I'm just the old cowboy. And he was not a cowboy. He put a cowboy hat on. He owned a ranch in California and had some horses, but he was not a cowboy. But everyone thought he was this cowboy. But he was a clown and an idiot, and he was a racist. John Doe, Russia is pushing into Romania and into Georgia as well. Josh 33 and Overcast here in CNY. What is CNY? CNY? I don't know. Tim Farrell, I just watched the Joker sequel like the first one. It was dark with a lot of underlying social commentary, like Breaking Bad, for example. Society kind of conditioned to hope for the bad guys. Trump. I have not seen that movie, and I wanted to see it. I don't even know if it's still playing in the theaters or not. I should go over there. I should Uber on over to the theater if it's still there. And I wanted to see it. I thought the trailers to it looked amazing. Then I heard when it came out, everyone was complaining because they said it was a musical. And I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming because in the trailers, it never indicated to me that this was a musical. But they're saying it's a musical. Now, I have a feeling that there's just some people in here that watched it that maybe don't know what a musical is. And maybe that, it is supposed to be, the Joker and what's her face, his girlfriend. They're crazy. They're lunatics. I mean, they are mentally ill. These are characters that are mentally ill. So I'm thinking it could just be, maybe it's a musical because in their minds, they're seeing life as a musical. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I want to go see it. But there was a big sort of complaint about it being a musical, which I don't give a fuck. If they do, if a musical is done right, then I'm not really a musical. I'm not really into musicals, but if it's done right and done well, I don't have a problem with it. Kellahella says the door just opened. There will be copycats. Oh, about the shooter, I guess. Kinet Chandra is here. Hey, good to see Kinet. Says same over the pond. The right wing have most of the radio, television, newspaper pumping their poisonous rhetoric 24/7. And why doesn't, I know we have people on the left that have money. Of course, George Soros is a name that always comes up. But there are plenty of other people. We could be buying media outlets. Why don't we buy newspapers? Why don't we buy radio stations? Why don't we buy television stations? And get our message out 24/7. They don't want to do it. The left, the liberal elite, the liberal rich, they don't want to invest in any of that for some reason. I don't know why. And so here we are stuck with right-wing propaganda machines that run 24/7, just like you said, 365. See, that was the problem. Even when Air America came out, and I thought Air America looked promising, and that's what brought us, Al Franken and Stephanie Miller and Randy Rhoads got out there, and even Ronald Reagan Jr. had a good show. That's where Maddow came out of that. Rachel Maddow. These were really good programs, and they were running at the first couple of years there, they were on a lot of stations across the country. But here's the problem: what I see, they ran pretty much from like the first morning shows with Al Franken or whatever, all the way into the afternoon. I think Rachel Maddow, I think might have been the later show, and all the way between. But it was like 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from the morning to the evening, and then that was it. I was a truck driver. I drove across the country, and I listened to stations, radio stations, wherever I drove. I could be out in the sticks, out in the boonies, and I could get Rush Limbaugh, and it would be 8 o'clock at night. It could be midnight. I could wake up and find him at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I could go through a town, and I could channel surf the stations, and Rush Limbaugh would be on 3 different stations in that same town, that same region, that same area. And they would run, his live shows or whatever, and they would rerun the shows over and over again on the weekends, on the weekdays. It literally is 24/7. And back then, it was, O'Reilly had a show, and Glenn Beck had radio shows, and Sean Hannity. They still do, but Michael Savage, fucking Alex Jones, all those assholes, they've been around forever, and they are in a continuous 24/7. 365 loop. They will play them on the weekends. They will play them on the weekdays. They will play them in the middle of the night. They just keep playing their shit over and over and over again. That's how people get brainwashed. And so even at Air America's height, they were on I don't even know how many stations they got. It was nearly not as many, like Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and those guys. They were being propped up and put on hundreds of stations across 800, 900, 1,000 stations across the country. Air America, I don't know how many they had at their height. Maybe 200? I don't even know. 100, 200? I'm not really sure. But it was nowhere near what these right-wing shows were being put on. Literally 1,000 stations across the country, And like I said, and those programming was on 24/7, 365. And that's just the radio. That's not counting Fox News, and that's not counting, other cable outlets and stuff. And that's not counting the internet. And then the internet has come along and is it's like on steroids now. So why doesn't the left do that? Why doesn't the left invest in 24/7, 365 days of the year, just pumping out the liberal message, the Democratic platform or whatever, progressive programming? Why don't they do that? And I don't know. And I know there's the old expression of trying to get Democrats to work together. It's like herding cats. And that's the same philosophy here, I guess, as far as trying to get the message out to the masses. Because just remember this: the masses are asses. They are. They really are. And the reason that they are asses is because it takes so long for them to figure shit out. And once they do, if you have a big right-wing propaganda machine going, then the masses are going to turn on to that before they do a liberal message, a progressive message. Big Hook says, I restocked cell phones from AliExpress and I'm set for probably 4 years. I see I am lucky, bought T480 ThinkPad. So now Windows 11 compliant. Kimchi says, fact, Hitler threatened and firebombed newspapers. Ours gave up without a fight. Stock up just in case. Plus, good prices never go down. Big Dog says most all of radio stations are right wing. I'd guess 90 to 95%. Back in 2008, Air America was broadcasting on 62 stations that covered a large part of America, including rural areas that had never before experienced progressive talk. Okay, so if that's true, okay, 62. I was giving them a bit of the doubt. I said 200. I was way off. In 2008, they had already been Air America had already been around for 4 years. I think it started in 2004. So this was probably the height, because it wasn't. They didn't last much longer after 2008. So they were on 62 stations across the country. That is pathetic. Now, nothing against Air America for only being on 62 stations. I know it's incredibly hard and expensive, I guess, to make this endeavor. But when you think of these other right-wing companies that literally had Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, Michael Savage, and others on their lineup, and they could put them on 1,100 stations across the country. And it was like that was like nothing for them to do that. I think they could put them on 800, 900, 1,000 stations. And like I said, it was a 24/7, 365 day that they were on. One of those programs was on, and probably in 2 or 3 different stations in the same market. I mean, that is a takeover of the airwaves. And so Air America, they tried to make a dent, and they got to 62 stations. Can you imagine that? Your 62 going up against their 1,000. Let's just say 1,000. We'll round it up to 1,000 or whatever it is. And you're on from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, or whatever it was, or maybe 8 in the evening, Monday through Friday, and that's it. After that, infomercials start coming on for the rest of the night, or maybe sports, maybe a sports program, and infomercials. And on the weekend, just more of the same, basically infomercials, and maybe they would do some sports or something. You're putting that up against networks and companies that have 1,000 stations, and they've got this lineup of right-wing talk show hosts that are on 24/7, 365 in 2 or 3 stations in the same market. God damn it, man. It's no wonder that the American working class has completely, since 1981, has completely switched, has completely swapped from being Democrats to being Republicans. Because from 1940s to 1981, probably, I think, from 41 to 81, I think for 40 years, I mean, Democrats pretty much controlled the Congress, and working class people were primarily, for the most part, they were Democrats. So it's I guess it should come to no surprise when I talk to union members who are Trump supporters now. I talk to working class, middle class people who are totally on board with Trump and with the Republican Party. It really should come as to no surprise when we see this onslaught of programming, radio programming, and then also cable news programming. And then the mainstream media doesn't help either, with their bias and really just tilting the playing field towards Republicans and towards MAGA. Hey, CN's here. It's good to see CN from the Netherlands. It says, "Where are you ninjas when you need them? Where are your ninjas?" Yeah, they're sneaky. They're hard to see. So, minus Kevin Anderson. I just imagine it, at a wedding. I love burp. You excuse you. I don't know what that's about. Non-useful says Laura Ingraham is paid millions to lie. She believes weekly repentance will work along with the crucifix necklace. Not. Seyhaw's here. Seyhaw says non-useful. That's technically incorrect. One 25-inch flat screen TV has, let's say it was 25 flat screen TV. Now let's say TV weighs about 7 kilograms, blah, blah. I don't know what that's about. Skipping on down, Wes Webb's here. Hey, Wes, good to see you. Wes says, the Bible is important to me. I'm one of those liberal Christians who doesn't believe in all the miracles. Big hook, because liberal billionaires don't want to spend their money unless there is a return on investment. Greed isn't exempt amongst liberals. Okay, talking about why they don't buy radio stations and TV stations and networks and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't know why there couldn't be a return on investment. Apparently, it's very profitable for the right wingers. I don't know why it couldn't be profitable for the left wingers. Michael Antonku is here. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks for being here. Says, I did hear Rush Limbaugh once in a while to see what kind of shit he was talking about. I can see why he was addicted to Republicans, because they are people of hate. Mine is Kevin Anderson, no Big John, Big Dog. Okay, I'm skipping on down a little bit here. Ask says, Air America, it was on the air from March 2004 to January 2010. That's about how I recall that, yeah. Big Dog, aliens probably roll up windows and lock the doors when they ride past Earth. Wes Webb, it says, everybody flocks to programming they believe. I'm probably the most conservative person in here. And what is conservative? You know, Oliver Brownlow's here. Oliver says, Air America didn't own the stations they were broadcasting on. They only provided content. That's true, yeah. Owen says, yeah, was he and said before I could. I'm kind of mid-thread, but I've been skipping down, so I'm a little bit mid-thread. Surrender Monkey says, so pre-Nazi Germany, there were 2 acts of government violence establishing their absolute right. Kristallnacht, Night of the Long Knives. You aren't quite there yet, at least. Butterflies are free. They need backing, that's for sure. They should have increased internet outreach during Biden's presidency. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Hey, and then we got Wes Webb, member for 8 months. Driver, naming, blaming, and shaming is very impractical. Well, thanks for being a member for 8 months, Wes Webb. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. For show. Let's see. Big Hook says, gerrymandering and voter restrictions, along with the ability to challenge voters with no punishment for false reporting, has left us with tyranny and minority rule. So then Wes Webb says, Big Hook, as long as you admit the Dems do it too. Yeah, the Dems do it. They've done it. But I don't see any Republicans pushing for reform. I see Democrats that are trying to make gerrymandering illegal, or making the district, how they've aligned the districts, and doing it in a nonpartisan way, and doing it in a way that is not just about tilting the playing field in certain ways. I see Democrats that are behind trying to fix it. I don't see any Republicans. Is there bipartisan support on that, Wes? Could you enlighten me on that? Is there bipartisan support? I don't deny that Democrats have done, they've gerrymandered and stuff like that, but I only see Democrats that are trying to fix the problem. I don't see Republicans getting on board with it. And regardless, it does need to be dealt with and fixed. John Doe says, in San Diego we had a liberal radio station, 1360 KLSD. Its reception was shoddy at best. It was taken over and turned into a sports station, and you could hear it to LA from then on. Yeah. CN says a smart person will know not to mess with a good person. You don't want to be Bruce Lee because I could give you everything I have, but when you hurt me for no reason, I can give you hell, no mercy. Josh says, wake up on the couch at 3 a.m. with some guy telling you how much you need to buy 300 knives with a bonus katana. Michael Anticu says they need more Hispanic-speaking Democrats on radio and YouTube. That's probably true. I think I agree with that, yeah. Because the right-wingers are doing that. They've got Spanish language programming. Right-wing Spanish language programming. And that might be a reason why we're seeing a lot of the Latino vote going to Republicans, and that group, a lot of people in that group voting against their best interests. Owen says, I was hoping December 4th would bring the galactic war that was predicted. No one is coming. Josh says, Big Dog, what happened to you? That happened to you too. I'm mid-thread, guys, so, you know. Surrender Monkey, so I'd like to ask, are people going to object to Trump being buried in Arlington Cemetery with honors? Yes. Answer, yes. Big Hook was West fucking people over legally because Republicans have corrupted the system to where we are now has led to the vengeance. I'm mid-thread. Nick Rich says, not beside Ivana and Bedminster Surrender Monkey. Surrender Monkey? Surrender Monkey from England. John Doe, don't forget the Reichstag fire. Jan Morgan's here. Hey, Jan, good to see you. You may have been in earlier, but I've been skipping around, so I didn't see you, but thanks for being here. Jan says, we are about to slide into a state of full-blown oligarchy, but oligarchy is a transitional form of government. It usually leads either back to democracy or towards tyranny. Which will America choose? And I am hopeful we will go back to democracy. I don't think we're going to like tyranny so much. And I don't think that these oligarchs, if they, you know, if they stick their heads out, they might get lopped off. So I don't think they're going to like that. So I think we will go back to democracy. But how long is it going to take? How many years is it going to take? How many people are going to be, hurt and die unnecessarily in the process? That's the question. We already lost 1 million people in COVID. At least a half a million of them have been estimated to be unnecessarily so due to Trump's ineptitude, into his deliberate mishandling of COVID was responsible for at least a half a million, probably more, deaths. So this whole thing about oligarchs taking over and becoming an authoritarian state or dictatorship, I don't think that will last. I don't think that 300 million Americans are going to stand for it for very long. But in the meantime, how many more people are going to get fucked over? Answer, lots. Lots. Wes Webb says, now I am mid-thread, so I don't know, but I'll read it anyhow. Let's see what happens here. Wes Webb says, that's because political blinders, sticking to one party or the other is a big part of the problem. Well, look at here, Wes. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I have no qualms about that whatsoever. And if I ever thought there was a better party, that was a major party, and that could get something done and that could make a difference, if my vote could make a difference, then I would vote for that party or people in that party. We basically have two choices, Republicans or Democrats. And the Republicans, at least within my lifetime, have always been shit, at least at the national level. I don't know about your little podunk Illinois bullshit that you always complain about, that the rural people don't get listened to. Okay, I don't know about that. I lived in rural areas. I've lived in the desert my whole life. I've never had that experience I live in California, so maybe it's a whole different thing than in Illinois. But I've lived through Republican administrations in California. I've lived through times we had fucking Duke Majan. We had fucking. Well, I think Reagan might have been Democrat at the time, but we've had Democratic governors and Democratic state legislatures. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, the rural people don't get listened to. I grew up in rural areas my whole fucking life, and never had a problem with that. We had pretty strong districts, county supervisors, and we were taken care of. But we're talking about president and your U.S. Congress. Basically, you have two choices: Republican or Democrat. So I have no issues whatsoever about me being a lifetime Democrat and voting for Democrats and never voting for Republican. I have no issue with that. It's not as if there was ever a good choice on the Republican side, because there never has been. They've all been shit. I've been voting since 1970. Well, 1980 was my first presidential election, and I did vote. I think it was California. Primary. I think there might have been a governor. I think it was a governor or something before that. So my first voting was before 1980, because I turned 18 in 1978. So I was able to vote in some California local elections before the 1980 election. I've always voted for Democrats. I identify with the Democratic Party, with the way I see it, as being the party of the people, the party of the working class and the middle class. I am from a working class, middle class family. So that's the party I identified with, and I identified with their platform positions. That's how I base it on. This has nothing to do with being blind and being operating with blinders. This is a clear choice of picking one party that I feel is far better than the other party. And that doesn't mean I think that the Democrats are perfect. I don't believe the Democratic Party is perfect. I don't believe that they operate flawlessly. Obviously, they don't. I don't believe that some of their strategies have backfired, because they have. But I still like the Democratic Party much, much better than the Republican Party, which I have always seen, even going back to 1980, as being the party that operates and is in existence to serve the rich, the upper 1%. That's what their function is. And I saw right through all of that fucking Roe v. Wade bullshit, all that pro-life bullshit. I saw right through it back in 1980 and in 81 when Reagan took office. And all that shit really went hard in the churches. And I saw right through it way back then. And how that was the Republican Party's way of getting the working class, was going into the churches and hitting those hot button emotional issues and claiming that abortion was murdering children. They were saying it back then, 45 years ago. And I didn't buy it then, and I don't buy it now. So I don't have political blinders. I don't just vote Democrat blindly. I vote for them because they are, the way I see it, the party of the working class man and woman, of which I am one. And the Republicans are strictly there for big, giant corporations and the oligarchs and the top 1%. And there aren't enough of those folks to get enough votes to win anything, so they have to brainwash and influence the middle class. Otherwise, they wouldn't have enough votes. Ask Surrender Monkey, Nick Rich, Bedmaster will get the Trump mausoleum granted. Big Dog, I'm mid-thread, so some of these don't make sense. Search for You says, anyone watch the Yacht Rock documentary on HBO? I have not. Let's see. Left Wing Gorilla says, in Wisco, we have civic media left-wing talk radio started with one station in Madison, just a few years ago, now up to 20 stations. Oh, nice. That's a start. It'd be nice if we could get something like that just to grow all throughout the nation, nationwide. And just remember, to whoever is trying to start radio networks and broadcast networks with a more liberal bent, let's say, progressive, liberal, whatever. When you do this, please operate 24/7, 365, and not just 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please try to put some programming on over the weekend at least. Maybe try to get 2 stations in the same market if you could, and not just one. Look at what they on the other side have done. Maybe try to emulate that in as far as the flooding the market, so to speak. Nick Rich says 12 noon, so I'm about 9 minutes behind the chat. So I'm going to scroll up here a little bit. Let's see where we land. Back on West Web. Fine, John. Then you are part of the problem. Stop blaming others until you can see that. Are you talking to me? I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem because I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I don't vote for Republicans because I think the Republican Party is a piece of shit, and I think the Republican nominees or candidates are all fucking shitbags. So I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. Fuck you, West Webb. Fuck off. Owen says I've never regretted or I've never whatever or Googled. Can I change my vote? Yeah, me either. Nick Rich, I first voted in 1974. Pat Ludwig's here. Hi, y'all. Late doing laundry. Yak. Well, thanks for being here. Better late than never, Pat. I always say. Butterflies are free, says the Republicans always tank the economy. Absolutely. They tank the economy, Wes. Your beloved fucking Republicans, they tank the economy. Every single fucking time. Reagan and Bush tanked the economy. Clinton brought it back. W tanked the economy. Obama brought it back. Trump tanked the economy. Biden brought it back. So fuck you, Wes Webb. You're part of the problem. You're the problem. Motherfucker. Big Hook, Wes, that teacher's pension you live off was made possible by unions, which are supported by Democrats. There you go. Thank you, Big Hook. You tell him, Big Hook. Okay, I'm scrolling down again. Let's see where it lands. I lands on Big Hook. It says, Wes, if you aren't part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Owen says, never immortalize your politicians or make them divine, and you won't get burned. Right, they're just people. They make mistakes. They're not perfect. Roxanne Arfield says, Sally, that is so true, Kimchi. See, I'm mid-thread, so I don't know what Kimchi said. West Webb says, I agree with that. Even Big Hook, there are many things over which I am powerless. Oh, blah, 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 Wes. You're so powerless. Kathleen Matthews, Roxanne Arfield, hello, sweetie. I hope your Saturday is going well. Josh says, the fact we commonly refer to working class sort of indicates there's a class that doesn't work. Well, I don't know about that, but, I don't know why you got to piss on my Cheerios there. The Soulcraft says, I watched Breath of Fire documentary about the yoga cult. Heavy shit. The yoga cult? Wow. It's a new one on me. Big Dog, Chris Doug can't spell felon without Elon, laughing out loud. Yeah, see, there it is right there. Kathleen Matthews, Eileen Call, hello, dear friend. Good to see you today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yeah, hi, Eileen. By the way, if I didn't say hi, I've been skipping down now. I'm just gonna scroll on up and see where it stops. Nobody knows where it's gonna stop. Here we are. Butterflies are free. Please tell me what the Republicans have done for the people. I'll be waiting. Here's what they've done since 1999, I believe, or is it 89? I always forget. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's pretty pathetic. The under Republican administrations, presidential administrations, they've created, wait for it, a whole whopping 1 million jobs. So there you go. Butterflies are free. That's what they've done since, I think, 1989. They've created 1 million jobs. So, now during that same time period, I just got to mention this, under Democratic presidencies, there have been 50 million jobs created. That's right, 50 million jobs created under Democratic presidential administrations. To the Republicans, 1 million. If that doesn't fucking mean anything to you, doesn't say anything about the Republican Party, then there's something wrong with you, Wes Webb. Chris Doug says, taint, cut taxes, spend, and blame the liberals. You had me at the word taint. I don't know. Nick Rich, West seems to enjoy being contrary. Oh, yes, he does. Search for you, West is a troll. He's a contrarian, I believe. I believe the term we're searching for is contrarian. Wes Webb, the contrarian. Wes Webb says, I've been union all my professional life. Plenty of Republicans in the unions. I know there are, which is another thing that leaves me shaking my head. Why the fuck would you be a member of a party that doesn't want you to exist? They do not want unions to. The Republican Party does not want unions to exist. And so if you're a union member and you're a registered Republican, then you're a fucking moron. There, I said it. The Soulcraft is backing me up here. It says, Republicans been trying to bust unions all my life, and all my life too. At least since Reagan, for sure. Robert Perez says, Republican plus union members equals oxymoron. There you go. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Jolie says, search for you. West is definitely troll adjacent. So I'm scrolling on down. I think I might be at the last little page here. Butterflies are free. The Republicans should be embarrassed. Wes Webb not being so much contrary as practical. You don't solve anything with blaming. You're just a typical whiny fucking Republican. Nick Rich says, Wes Webb, give what you have to the poor in your will at least. Because you ain't taking it with you. Roxanne Arfield says, yes, I agree. MJ Daniel, well said. Butterflies are free, says it's all in the data. Bruce says, Bill Clinton said that during the DNC. Yes, and lots of people have been saying it ever since. Josh says, aha, big dog. Oliver Brownlow says, taint funny McGee. Chris Doug says, Republicans use union members for votes, then enact anti-union legislation. Yep. That's their game, man. That's their game. Robert Cross goes laughing out loud. Big Hook. Wes, he says, Wes, so who do you hear from about inequality and how do you fix it? I bet it wasn't a Republican. I bet too. Chris Doug says, you're like a Jew for Hitler. Left Wing Gorilla says, plenty of Republicans in my union too, stupid. I was a union shop steward when I was in the Postal Service. And I knew who the Republicans were. And I mean, some of them made it very clear. And as a shop steward, I tried to be neutral, and I just wanted to solve their grievance. But still, I was shaking my head at some of these people. Let's see. MJ Daniel, the GP does not represent we the people. West Webb, I was a union captain for several years, and I generally registered Republican. No, you're stupid. Robert Lewis says, I just got through picking up Fox News Media covering Donald Trump, my enemy, and the Catholic Church, even bigger enemy of mine. Big Big Hook. Tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires. Wes Webb says, my heirs are my family. I give plenty to charities. Well, good for you, Wes. Let's see. Butterflies are free. Laughing out loud, Jolie. Bruce says, what is a union captain, Wes? Maybe that's what shop stewards are. I was a shop steward. Maybe in his union, that's what a shop steward was. I don't know. Robert Lewis says, I have been marking all of our enemies with X marks the spot. We have to know where they're at. Thank you, X. Big Dog says, Wes, that's crazy to be a Republican and a union member. I agree. I think it's ludicrous. Wes Webb, teachers are generally progressive and about half Republican. Again, ludicrous. Robert Carrasco, Me Too, 17 years. Jimmy Roberts says Republicans love millionaire sports and police unions. Robert Lewis, how do we stop insurrectionists? President from being president is not legal. I don't think we can stop it. I don't think there's any way of stopping it. He ran, as far as I know. I mean, I have no proof or evidence that the election wasn't free and fair. I have, even though him winning to me is doesn't seem right. It just still doesn't add up in my head. Watching the two campaigns, one was very uplifting and positive, and that would be Kamala Harris, of course. The other one was dead and dying and pathetic and sad and full of just vitriol and hatred. And that's the guy who won. And it just doesn't add up to me. But as far as I know, I've seen no evidence or proof that there was any like actual, cheating or not counting the votes right or whatever. So as far as I can see, he won the election. So he's president. He's going to be president. He's going to be sworn in on January 20th. The insurrectionist. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The man who led an insurrection against this country, who wanted to destroy democracy, is now going to be the president of the United States. I mean, it doesn't get any more twisted and warped than that. Big Dog says, my dad was shop steward, AFL-CWA. Let's see. Owen says, Lincoln was great, but now the parties carries Confederate battle flag in their capital. It was a flag they used for the Confederacy. The chat was scrolling up, and I can't go back to it. Sorry about that. I couldn't read the whole thing. Let's see. Big Hook says, so Wes, who rescued the pensions? And a lot of people with this presidency, I will give you a clue. It wasn't a Republican. Nick Rich says, then direct where they should donate it, Wes. Put it in your will. Look, I'm not, he can do whatever he wants with his money. I don't care. The Soulcraft says, look like they got the DNA of the CEO shooter off the backpack. Jimmy Roberts says, a lifelong cheater didn't cheat this time. Well, I don't know what he could have done as far as like Trump. And like I say, we can speculate. Like I say, something doesn't seem right. It doesn't pass a smell test with me, but I can't say that it wasn't I can't say that Trump didn't win unless I can get some hard fucking evidence. And I have yet to see any. So we're all speculating. No one says it was Battle Banner. I live in RVA. It was a protest that got the statue removed. Yeah, remember that when removing the statues? And that was a good thing. Remove those racist fucking Confederate statues off of public property was a good thing. That was a good thing. Christina Weibel says mail-in ballots ended up in other states in ditches on the side of the road. He's in violation of Section 3 of the Insurrection Act and Constitution. This is the first time hearing about mail-in ballots being found in ditches, so I don't know. I haven't heard about that. Swinnermucky, co-workers, Big Hook, was that CWA? Swinnermucky, if he pardons any of those fuckwits, wouldn't that make him... God, this chat is moving and I can't read it. Morgan... see, now I can't read that either. Oh, God dang it! And I can't go back. It won't let me go back. It won't let me scroll back. It just... Oh, actually, it did make... Oh, well, now it's letting me do it. Okay, well, let's see. What did I miss? I missed... Okay, Morgan's Raven says, I don't believe for a second he legit won all swing states and popular vote. Sus. Like I said, it doesn't seem right to me either. But what I'm saying is he's still going to be sworn in on January 20th. And because there's nothing that has been brought forward. And I don't even know if it did. I don't even know if we have that in place. Like, there really is no, other than having recounts. I mean, I guess if you had found, you had concrete evidence that there was some, but you can't hold the election over again. I think all you can do is recount. So we're kind of screwed. The whole thing is kind of screwed, man. But like I said, it doesn't smell right to me either. Like, but then I always go back to the whole thing that Kamala Harris only had like 3 months or so, less than 4 months, I think, to campaign. And if she had 5 months or 6 months, then that might have been enough to make the difference. Because right now, last I checked, Trump only won the popular vote by 1.4% of the vote. If she had maybe an extra month or two, who knows? That might have been the difference. That might have made the difference. But nothing we can do about it now. All we can do about it now, look, I don't want Trump being president, and I don't want the Republicans being in power, but that's the reality. And so all we can do now is just hang on to our butts, because it's going to be a bumpy ride, and do our best to get the Congress back in 2026. That's all we can do. And also do the Trucker John national strike. We need to come up with a date. And even if I'm the only one who does it, we should probably come up with a date. Maybe should it be sometime here in this month? So let me know, what day should we start our national strike? And then who knows? You never know when things go viral or whatever. What if I say December 17th is going to be the day of a national strike? No one goes to work. No one goes shopping. No one goes to gas stations. Everyone just stays home and watches Netflix for 3 days or however long it takes. Should we do that? And if we do, then I need all of you to, get the word out. John Doe says, Trucker John, watch the Greg Palast. I know Greg Palast is all into that, and he has some great information, and he digs down into the voter purging, mostly about purging the voting rolls, right? So yeah, let me read your post. John Doe says, watch the Greg Palast new movie, Vigilante Inc. It talks and how the southern states are challenging the black vote, like in Georgia. Yeah, I haven't checked that out. That sounds interesting. I think Greg Palast does great work exposing, the vote, maybe not vote tampering, but certainly tampering with the voting rolls, getting people knocked off that shouldn't be, getting people's votes, ballots not counted that should be. Non-useless says maggots were locked in on voting Trump. Butterflies are Free says John Doe, that's an excellent movie. Morgan's Raven, we voted for Biden and Kamala together, and she's more than qualified. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Big Hook, Wes, where do you go to get the truth? As a teacher, you should know. Enlighten us. He goes right here to the Trucker John channel. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Oliver Brownlow says, if wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. That's nifty. That's witty, I guess. The Soulcraft says, emoluments clause would be my bet. Oh, yeah. Chris Doug says, Teamsters for Trump is oxymoronic and pathetic. Absolutely. 24/7 Live Arizona Skies is here. Hey, good to see 24/7 Live Arizona Skies. Was a bloodbath. The map was all red. Well, no. See, the thing about that, when those maps, a lot of that red area is just dirt and cornfields and cow pastures. It's not really people. Those are the rural areas that Wes Webb seems to think is being neglected. So it looks like a bloodbath. But if you look at the total votes, it's only separated by 1.4%. Donald Trump got about 77 million and change. I think 77,200,000 and change. And Kamala Harris got like 75,800,000 votes. So if you look at it that way, it certainly is not a bloodbath. I mean, if you could even out that color, it would be almost like a 50-50. The amount of blue to red would be almost like a 50-50 look. If you did it honestly, instead of just doing it by, district or whatever, and where there's a lot of these districts that went red and that had like 1,000 people in it or something. So that graphic that you see where the map is all red, it's misleading in that it's just showing the areas, the districts, the voting precincts or whatever, the districts that were won. It's not showing like the total count, which is very, very close. 77 million to 75 million and change. Kamala has almost 76 million. She's very close to 76 million. So it's like 77 million to 76 million. So if you could make that chart, then it would look like about a 50-50 split. Where were we? I guess Kathleen Matthews is leaving or is left. So thanks for being here. You're probably already gone, but thanks, Kathleen, for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us here in the old Trucker John Driver's Lounge. Jimmy Roberts says record turnout, record registration, record rallies for Kamala Harris. I don't know about the record turnout, but I know there were lots of registrations going on, and the rallies were, like I say, they were on fire, man. The actual voting turnout was lower than it should have been. Okay, I'm scrolling on down here. Says, when I heard Nikki the incel was arrested. Oh, yeah, Nick Fuentes. I heard something about that, too. As well as Zin's here, I can't wait for more FAFO content. Robert Perez, can I get your predictions on the Rams-Bills game? Do the Rams have a chance? The Rams always have a chance, Robert Perez. The Rams always have a chance. Now, granted, it's going to be a tough one. The Bills are a really good team this year, and the Rams are kind of shitty. And they look good at times, and they look bad at times. And you just don't know what Rams team is going to show up on any Sunday. If they get the good Rams team show up, then they could win. I mean, they certainly have the offensive tools with Stafford and his receiving core. It's the O line, I think, has been the disappointment, because you got a young defense, and they've been playing. The defense has been playing tough. They've been giving up some big plays with their backfield, but they're pretty young, and the front four, I think, has been doing great, getting good pressure on the quarterbacks and stuff. I think my biggest disappointment has been the O line. I think lots of injuries there, guys playing out of position. So we'll see how it goes. There's a chance. I think I can't count them out. I think every game this year has been close, except for the blowout when they got blown out against the Cardinals, and then they didn't look too good. Was it? Well, against the Eagles, they if they had scored on those first two drives like touchdowns, the first one they fumbled, and the second one I think they got a field goal. And they looked good on those two drives. If they had not fumbled and they had not, settled for a field goal in the red zone, and they had gone out to a 14-0 lead, I think that game would have been completely different. But then they struggled, and then the Saquon Barkley or whatever, he took over. That big giant running back who's a beast, just took over the game. Yeah, they got a chance. No, I'm not going to count my Rams out. Let's see. We got Wes Webb. I get my news from NPR, and PBS, AP, sometimes ABC, NBC, and CBS, and Trucker John. Kimchi says, remember, another reason he wants his, is it lackey? In charge so that he could get all the statistics in his favor. Kathy Logan says, yes, the maps show land in red states, but no dirt in blue areas. Well, the point is that, the blue areas are more highly populated areas. All those red areas, it's like sparsely populated. West Webb, rural poor all over nation, biggest poverty rate, majority white. Yeah, no, that's because there's a lot of white people. Roxanne Arfield, you are talking about Republicans in the past, West Webb. Yeah, West Webb, you're living in the past. Owen says, I found myself doing, I've skipped down in the chat here. So if I skip over you, don't get offended. Owen says, I found myself doing renovation in the Powell courthouse over the summer, if you ever heard of the Powell memo. Is that the one that says that you can't indict or something a sitting president? Is that the one? CNN says all male people forget they came out of a vajayjay and should be happy with the mothers, that the mothers wanted to keep them and not dig a hole and leave them there. So this is the way to pay their elders. Yeah, exactly. Appreciate your mothers for giving you life and not burying you in a hole in the backyard. I absolutely agree with that. What's Webb? I'm sorry for anybody struggling financially. I try to help the ones I know. Also give to church rescue missions and food pantries. What more can I do? I think you're doing good there, Wes. I don't have a problem with that. Big Dog says, Jolie, 100%, 100%, and the chaos is just a shiny object to keep people distracted while they haul the money out the back door. Yep. Yep, it's sleight of hand. Look at this hand over here, while this one over here is reaching into your pocket. Okay, I'm scrolling down. Let's see where she stops. Nobody knows. West Webb says, when you say that half the human beings in the United States are automatically evil, I'm mid-thread on that. I'm mid-thread, so I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're talking to somebody else in the chat. But I think that, just generally speaking, going off on that, I think that about half of the people who voted are either terribly misguided, misinformed, brainwashed, and there's probably some evil ones in there too. Robert Perez says, "I'm voting for you, Trucker John, 2028. You've got a face that only a politician could love." I don't know what that means, but thank you, Robert. I'm glad I got at least one vote if I were to ever run for 2028 something. Big Hook says, Sehal Yuval Harari, hi, rhymes with Ferrari, says that the truth is expensive, and as a result, outside of science, things are not put to the test of scientific methodology. We know through history what in the past has worked and failed. Hey, Ichabod Deers here. Good to see Ichabod. Thanks for joining us here in the driver's lounge. We're just kicking back. We're kicking back, relaxing, having a good time on the House Sparks No Show after show, which doesn't make sense. The No Show show, the No Show Hangout. That's what it is. Thanks, Ichabod, for hanging out with us a little bit. Rosanna says, women will stop having babies, so sad mothers are worried for their daughters. Okay. I'm mid-thread. Seha says, Wes Webb, I'm not sure anymore. I watched a vid of a kid, that rhymes, smashing bottles and throwing a tantrum. I'm gonna do a little editing there. In a Walmart, don't touch her, leave her be. Discipline a child in public, they arrest your ass. Well, I think that depends on what you call discipline. If you start beating the shit out of the kid, yeah, you're going to get arrested. You can discipline without beating the shit out of your kid, I believe. Kimchi says, Robert, I love TJ. Although I didn't say, I guess that's me. Although I didn't say I want to live with you, I said I want to do a live with you. Okay, I skipped down. I didn't see the earlier your earlier post, I guess, apparently. Let me see. Does Kimchi want to do a live with me? Is that what the deal is? I'm scrolling back. It is letting me scroll back. Earlier it wasn't. So, and I do have it on all messages. Okay, so I don't know, but if Kimchi wants to do a live with me, that would be great. I'm all for it. But in order for me to do that, I would have to do the show from a different. I could only do it from the way I'm set up. The only way I could do it would be actually from directly from YouTube. And there's a way where you can have one other person come in with you. So we would have to prearrange that so that I do the show, because I use this thing called the Prism app. It's an app, and it's on my phone, and I do that because it allows me to set a schedule, and I can put that in YouTube, and it'll let people know ahead of time that the show is going to be such and such a date, such and such a time. But I can do that directly from the YouTube app also. I can set a schedule. That's right. I can do that from that also. But somebody could do that. But it's just a whole different thing. So I would have to know ahead of time. If anyone wants to do a live with me, it has to be set up before I start. I can't bring anybody in after the show has started. It'd be something we'd have to set up beforehand, and I would have to get your. I think I'd have to get your email address or something, and then that would give you an invite to come on to the live. Jolie says, I'm sorry, anyone that voted for a rapist felon is most definitely a horrible person. if they knew that he was a rapist felon. If they didn't know that, then they are terribly, terribly uninformed, and probably shouldn't be voting in the first place. Then, if they're that uninformed, West Webb, all Republicans are not evil. No, but like I said, they're either evil or incredibly stupid or incredibly uninformed or incredibly uh, living with their lives with their heads buried in sand. And a lot of people that did vote for Trump are now regretting it. And why are they regretting it? Because they're seeing now they're seeing what Trump is all about and his administration is all about and what they want to do. Ichabod Deer says, I remember when teachers were paid far more, doctors and corporate execs far less. That ended during the 1980s. And who was president then? I believe it was Ronald Reagan. Think about dear Republicans today, pure fucking evil. Is all those in not evil, but selfish and intellectually lazy. Josh says they have selective morality. I think we're talking about Republicans there. I sort of added that a little bit. Sweaty Monkey says, Jelly, I put my thumbs up, TJ, just for that. You put your thumb up, TJ. Wow. Thank you. Nick Rich says those that voted for Hitler 2.0 is evil West Web. Hey, Paul Sharky Mannion's here. Paul Sharky Mannion says, evening, TJ and truckers. Hope everyone's doing well today. And you as well, Paul Sharky. Hope you're doing well. Oh, they're across the pond. Music says, I'm really not a fan of teachers or police. Really. I view them as both agents of social control and oppression. I think both groups need more direct and absolute control over them by communities. Wow. I might agree to that to some extent of the police. You know, the police really should be there to serve and protect and not harass and kill unnecessarily. Teachers, I don't know. My experience with teachers is that they're just trying the best they can, and a lot of times they've got limited funds and funding, and a lot of times they got to pay out of pocket just to get some basic supplies into a classroom. And I don't know where you're from, music. Maybe it's different where you're from, but I don't know. I think teachers are underpaid, and I think that most of them have good hearts and are trying the best they can to teach their kids what they need to be, taught in the classroom. Chris Doug says, no, really, if you voted for Trump, you are evil. Don't deny it. Well, I don't like to paint with such a broad brush. I think that a lot of people who voted for Trump, like I say, have been misguided, have been misled. There's that whole network of right-wing media, whether it's on radios, whether it's on TV, whether it's on the internet, misinformation, disinformation campaigns, Russia involvement clearly there, other countries that aren't our friends clearly there messing with things. Scrolling on down, AM says, hello, Trucker John. I guess no Hal Sparks today. Always a good time to hear your jovial voice. Thank you so much, AM. Yeah, Hal Sparks didn't come on today. He was really busy in Florida. He was did a show, I guess, yesterday and maybe today. I don't know the exact schedule, but I know he's in Florida, and there was a benefit, like a cancer benefit type of a thing, and so he's been real busy. West Webb says if they are just screaming and crying, they are expressing themselves. Usually they are tired or hungry. I'm mid-thread on that one. Ichabod Deer says West Webb, not so in New York State with Regents programs. Teachers were men and women here. Okay. They weren't kids, I guess, what was we saying. Robert Perez says the Kimchi Trucker John show, it sings. I'm all for it. So Kimchi will need to get a hold of me. Seha says, simple example, I can lie to you and say I'll fix your car and not do it for a year. For that year I lied. Then I decide that was shitty and fix it. You turn that lie into a truth. I don't know. MJ Daniels says Americans that voted Republican are going to find out over the next year or so how little they really care about them. Nearly everything they plan will fuck over the average American. And I'm really, really hoping that those people who fucked around and are going to find out, I hope they stay involved with the voting process and do everything they can to get Democrats in Congress in 2026. Kimchi says, I said that a few days ago that I want to come to Nevada and do a live with you. Oh, just thought it was funny. Oh, you wanted oh yeah, I do remember you said you wanted to come to Nevada. Oh yeah, okay. And then it sounded like you wanted to live with me. That's what it was. Okay, I get it now. I took it like you wanted to live with me, and that's what I said. Well, it's kind of tight quarters here. Okay, you want to do a live with me? Well, okay. Well, when you come to Nevada, let me know, and we will do. We'll do it that way, or you could do it like I was saying. There is a way that I can have another person. I think it does like a split screen, and where we could have two people on here, and we could do that too. So yeah, all right, Kimchi. But you're always welcome. Yeah, if you do come to Vegas, hit me up, and if nothing else, we can go have a cup of coffee or something. You know. Ichabod Deer says 50-50 men, women, teachers in New York. My time in public education ending 1983. I just scrolled up, so I skipped a lot of chats. Just so you know. Here's Seha back on the car fixing analogy. He says, but if I say I'll fix your car and fix it instantly, it will always be true and never be a lie. Okay, thanks for that. Minus Kevin Anderson, Pat's Jolie on the head. Repubs is stupid. West Webb, nothing has changed yet. Big Hook. Funny how Abbott put all the asylum people on buses to New York and Chicago in the winter because he couldn't house them, but he could build prison facilities for the great mass deportation. Yeah, that is odd, isn't it? Ichabod Deer says eggs have taken a jump in price at Aldi's, now $4 a dozen. Was getting a little dry mouth. Morgan's raver. There are no more Republicans anymore in government. That's funny. That might deserve a drum sting. I don't know. Nick Rich, Paul Sharky Mannion. Paul Sharky Mannion says, hi, Jolie, Kimchi, Roxanne, Azolda, Nick Rich, Nick Kabad. Robert Perez says, not only that who and why would anyone vote for a convicted felon has got me and millions of Americans baffled. Amen to that, Robert. Amen to that. I've been scratching my head ever since November 5th. So much so that I got no hair hardly left. See there? Look at that. Scratched it right off. The Soulcraft says to hear Trump at any rally and think that's a good thing is mind-blowing. I went to a Trump rally here in Vegas, and I can tell you, the maggots, here's what the maggots were doing. They were like, here's the expression. They're looking up at him, and they're like, they're like agreeing. They're like, yep, yeah, no. I mean, it was weird. It was, they were like in a trance or something. Big Hook says, yeah, Wes, I'm mid-thread warning. Big Hook says, yeah, Wes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's always good advice. I think that's always good advice. Nick Rich says, same here, Ichabod Deer. I haven't been to a fast food joint since before COVID. I wish I could say the same, but I can't. MJ Daniel, modern day bread and circus, a distracted, ignorant, apathetic population. I think that about sums it up. Paul Sharkey Mannion says, my dear 93-year-old uncle died last Saturday. Sorry to hear that, Paul. My condolences to you and your family. It says, thanks goodness for his NHS. He was looked after with care and kindness by all the nurses and doctors. Best thing we have ever done in Britain or England. Yeah, I'm glad he was able to get good care and to all the way to the end there. And man, just think if Kamala Harris had won and we had got the Congress or at least the House back or whatever and kept Senate, I guess, might we have had a chance for at least a public option? Maybe not Medicare for all, but at least a public option. And if the public option was so good, I don't know why 99% of the people going on to the exchange wouldn't just pick the public option. So it would basically be like Medicare for all. I mean, if my understanding of a public option, it would be like that. So, but now with Trump, there's no chance of a public option ever being put in the ACA. We don't even know if the ACA is going to survive. That's the thing that's so maddening. These elections have consequences. And we're going to see a lot of consequences, a lot of bad consequences as a result of this election. In healthcare, in inflation, due to those tariffs, in deportations, mass deportations. We're going to see American citizens being, if not deported, at least held in a camp somewhere until they can get it sorted out. We're going to see a lot of fucking shit, a lot of shitty things going down. And maybe cuts and gutting of Medicare and Social Security, disability, VA benefits. These are the people that are going to get hurt. All those groups that I mentioned, which is basically everybody, in some manner, is going to be affected by this, and for the worst. That is what is so maddening. As old as in, now I'm mid-thread. I think I'm mid-thread. It says, I'm guessing you two have never been expected to manage a group of 30 kids. I know there was a discussion about teachers, and I guess that's in response to something there. But I'm mid-thread. And I'm scrolling up, and where she stops, nobody knows. Stops right here. Ichabod Deer says, I'm getting a laugh from comments about the UHC gunman still not caught. Yeah, I was too. I was watching a bunch of those this morning, and I can't say that I disagree with a lot of those. I really can't. But it's Kevin John and Chi. Big Dog NC, I love my single payer socialized health care. The VA, I wish the whole country had it. I really do. Robert Perez says, Trucker John, there's a trucker's brofell on Highway 95 north of Hawthorne. Asked for the brothel, I guess. Is it brothel? I don't know. Ask for the tour and free coffee with your CB. Make an appointment. Are you trying to say brothel? I don't know what a brofel is, but hey, I might be back in a truck. Robert, I haven't driven a truck in almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in February, I think. But I might be back in a truck. I've been putting my name out there. I've been a lot of trucking companies. They've seen my resume, and of course they send you back. They reply. I really haven't I have talked to one company here that I kind of liked. I was actually interested in this company uh, for the past few years now. It's called MC Trucking, I think. I might be back in a truck. Maybe as soon as the end of this month or the beginning of the new year. I don't know. I might. I really don't want to. See, that's the thing. I really don't want to, but I don't have. I'm not doing Uber because of a snafu. A snafu. So word of the day is snafu. But who knows? I might be in a truck and I might be going up Highway 95 north of Hawthorne. I've seen those places. I know what you're talking about, but I do know that a lot of those places. I think I've never gone into them, but they look like they're closed up. And I can tell you that okay, I started driving in 2004, and those places were booming in 2004 to 2008. You could see the lights on when you drove by. You could see lots of cars in the parking lot. You would hear the girls that work at these brothels. They get on the CB and they're like, "Hey, drivers, why don't you come on in to Foxy Lady or whatever it's called? I don't know. And we got free showers and free coffee and come on in." They're trying to get you to go in there, which is fine. And you could go on the CB and talk to them. And I remember getting on the CB and going, "Hey, darling, how's it going?" Just to stay awake, at night if you're doing night driving or whatever. And it would be fun to talk to, what sounded like a pretty girl on the CB. And you'd be like, "Hey, darling, how's it going?" And they'd be like, "I'm doing fine, driver. How you doing?" She'd get her sexy voice going. And you're like, "Oh, yeah, she sounds sexy." And I remember having some conversations as long as the signal until you drove out of their whatever their range was or whatever. But then around 2008, 2010, the economy was crashing from Bush, the housing market and the banking crisis. That seemed to wipe out the prostitution industry because I didn't see. I mean, I used to see lot lizards all over the place at truck stops, and like I say, all those brothels would always be lit up and have lots of people in the parking lot. By 2010, 2009, those places were like closed up. They looked dead. You hardly ever saw any lot lizards. And they never seem to come back from it ever since then. I mean, they did to some extent. I'm sure there's some areas. I'm sure there's some drivers that could tell you all kinds of stories about, places. There's some big places I've heard of, like in Georgia and Florida and Texas and stuff. But for the most part, from the places I go, that whole sort of sex work part of that you would see, whether in legal brothels in Nevada or whether lot lizards in the lots, it dried up. I mean, a lot. And I never saw it come back to what it was when I first started in 04 and to 08, Anyhow, Sex Brothel Talk on Trigger John channel. And Jolie is reminding us that we have channel memberships. We have super chats. You can also support the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. And you can buy me a coffee over there at the Buy Me a Coffee link. I do appreciate that. Oh, you know what, Jolie? Could you do me a favor and put my son's link in there? I forgot to do that on the last show. My son, Trucker John Jr., he doesn't go by that. But his name is Johnny, and he has a YouTube channel, and it's called like it's like XX Rooster XX or something. And what he does is he does these Pokemon opening where he opens up packets of Pokemon, and he loves it, and he makes great videos. I loved his editing, and his personality it's much better than mine. He has a great personality. Very good kid, nice kid. So if you guys, maybe Jolie could put that link in there. If you guys want to go over there and give him some subs, he's up. The last I checked, he is up to 48. So because of you guys, I think I think at least about 7 or 8 of you guys have subbed him, because I was like at 40 or 41 or something when I did this on last week. So if Jolie would be so kind as to put my son's link in there, and if you guys want to go on there and give him and sub him, it'd be great if we could get him to like 100 or something. That would be awesome. And he's a great kid, and he's much more personable than I am. All right, I'm scrolling here. Let's see. Kimchi says, Josh, Kimchi on the John is for ours our OnlyFans. Who knew TJ was such a freak? Well, yeah, who knew? Ichabod Deer, did Hal skip a show today? Yeah, he did, Ichabod. He was busy in Florida doing shows for this like a cancer benefit. I know that was yesterday, and today he's either traveling or going into doing more of that. And it was a rare time. I don't think in the last few years I've been listening to Hal that I've seen him miss a Saturday show. So it's very rare. But he'll be back on Monday in his regular time, I believe, at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Robert Perez says, I went to reapply my THC vape supplies for the month, and the price went up $1 already. I'm getting madder by the day, and I don't know how much more I can take. Rosanna's here. Kimchi says, Sharky, I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah, me too, Sharky. But it sounds like, your uncle had a good long life, and he was able to get good health care, and making all of us Americans jealous that we have shitty health care. Josh says, Chris Doug, I bet he'll keep doing rallies anyway. He's addicted to the adoring fans. Yeah, Trump is he's a real head case. Donald Trump, total head case. I feel like I'm sinking in my chair here. I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to scoot up a little bit without knocking everything over. Let's see here. I just feel like I'm sinking down. I probably am sinking. Anyhow, there. Hopefully, you guys, I didn't knock anything over. Ichabod Deer says, Robert Perez, I pay $100 ounce for top shelf THC flower or less for cheaper stuff. Chris Doug says, Tulsi Gabbard is an existential threat to U.S. security. She's certifiably insane, claiming American taxpayers are funding 65 biolabs. Yeah, she's insane, but she's indicative, I think, of this whole MAGA movement. They're all insane. They're all totally whack jobs. I scrolled up when it stopped here on music. Every few months, I drive to Michigan to stock up. I think we're talking about cannabis products, I guess. I'm mid-thread again. Let's see. Big Hook says the ACA was so large because unless you outline everything that the health insurance companies will fuck you over unless it's written down. You gotta. You can't miss anything. You got to cover everything in it. Yep. Robert Perez, I would love to smoke flower, but I've got 4 grandkids, so I don't want them to smell weed. So use vapes for now. Let's see. Bruce, I'm ready for the fight. Kimchi, thumbs up. Big Hook says, who wants to be known as the one who ratted the shooter out? The shooter's got lots of support. The Soulcraft says, I prefer concentrates, but where I am, it's hard to get legit vapes. Lots of vape and THC and cannabis talk in the chat right now. I see. Nick Rich says, I'm indulging on Blackberry Kush. 31% THC is the claim on the package. Scrolling on up where she stops, nobody knows. Stopped at the Soulcraft Pineapple Express concentrate. We're still into the, I guess, vape and THC stuff talk there. Butterfly Free says, oh my God, Paul, that's a heavy load to deal with. I'm mid-thread. So I don't know what that's about. Let's see. Ichabod Deer, I have never seen so many weed stores in one place at the Mohawk Reservation. Paul West Webb says Paul Sharkey death is more real to those of us who have lost most of our loved ones. And more THC. I'm going to skip the THC talk. You guys are perfectly welcome to talk about that. It doesn't really interest me because I'm not into that really. So, Darkly Yours says that Trucker John, have you ever heard a ghost on your radio? I don't think so. I mean, how would I know? Would they go, "Hi, I'm a ghost"? Anyhow, Nick Rich, X Rooster XX, is that it, Jolie? But yeah, well, the way he does it, it's like, I think it's like capital X and then lowercase x, and then I think there's an underscore, I think, and then Rooster, and then it might be another underscore or underline, and then I think it's little x and then big X. So it's kind of a tricky one. Okay, I scrolled up. Where she stops, nobody knows. Midas Kevin Anderson says Hal is a jukebox hero. Jukebox hero. Ichabod Deer, I've been a mod for MTN for a few days now. It's cool. Christina Weibel, so is Tucker Carlson. Mid-thread, a mid-thread. I don't know, so I don't know what that one's about. I don't know what it's about. I don't know. Not going to scroll back up. Sorry. Can't do it. Not going to do it. That was I don't know what that was, but anyway. West Webb, the Senate has requested Tulsi's FBI file. MJ Daniel says the entire DJT administration and cabinet are a threat to national security. I agree wholeheartedly on that one. Big Dog, I love MTN. I just wish Brett and Ben would look at the camera more. I know I'm always down reading. So I guess I'm guilty of that too. And I should look into the camera more. You can see my beautiful eyes a little bit more. Look at that. I need to do a little more of that. Maybe I'll get more viewers. Mr. Spock, hey, good to see you, Mr. Spock. Live long and prosper. Howdy. Everyone did some reference weed. Lots of weed talk today on the old Trucker John channel here, Trucker John live stream. I'm going to scroll on up. Where she stops, nobody knows. Well, it stopped right here at Nick Rich. They're still talking about weed. Think about Deer, minus Kevin, Anderson, cool. We are mods for Benny. Benny and the Jets. Benny. 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 Benny and the Jets. Thunder Monkey says, cool. I don't know where Paul Manning is from, but I expect it's more like the TJ take. Soulcraft with stars in your eyes. With stars in your eyes. I'll be a jukebox hero. Christina Weil, Tucker Carlson is a Russian asset. He's in Russia right now. If anyone deserves gravity sickness, I'm just saying. Robert Perez says, I would pay per view to watch Trucker John take a tab of acid on his show. Ooh, I might take you up on that. MJ Daniel, never look up and inhale a bunch of helium, and you can do a Ben Shapiro imitation. Oh yeah, because Ben Shapiro, he's the guy. He thinks that if he talks really fast and just says everything really fast and confidently, that everyone will believe think that he's doing that he's right, he's correct, he's got good information because he talks fast. And if you talk fast like this, everyone will just believe whatever you say. I'm Ben Shapiro. I don't need helium. Pat Ludwig says Ichabod Deer was there 30 years and it was getting hotter every year. People weren't so friendly. What part do you go to? Mid-thread. I'm mid-thread, so I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sure I don't knock anything over. It's over. I don't know. Let's see where we at here. We got Krista, too much drug talk. I'm clean and sober. Um, yeah, I hope we're not, going to make anyone relapse or anything. Midas Kevin, Elton John came back for this year's Walt Disney Celebration show. He sang your song. I love that song. I remember that song came out, and I was like, I think in third grade or something. And for whatever reason, as a third grader, I just loved that song. Robert Perez says, "Man, Johnny, you sounded like Porky Pig right now." That was by Ben Shapiro. Pat Logan, okay, I'm losing my mind, and that's okay. I'm losing my mind. Big Hook, Big Hook. Many state elections this year, politics is local, and you need to vote the Republicans out so you have protection against Trump and his madness. I'm hoping, Big Hook. I'm hoping this will be an eye opener, and whatever election's coming up, I'm hoping and I'm praying, and that it's a big blue wave no matter what, Rosanna says, "I'm afraid to go to Florida because of dump. Am I being silly?" I don't think you're being silly because Florida is a shit show. Chris Doug, sadly, Elton John has stated he has lost his vision. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Well, MJ Daniel took LSD once in 1980, and wow, good trip, but once was enough. Wes Webb, so many mods, not these wrenches seem to be star collectors or glory grabbers or whistleblowers. Power hungry old people, judgy. Well, that sounds that the whole everything you just said sounds judgy to me. So think about dear Pat Lugwood. Oh, sorry, I have not been to Florida since 2007. I don't plan on going again for several years. Too right wing for me. I had been going there since the 1970s. Big Dog says Ben Shapiro does have a real creepy vibe. Look about dear Pat Lugwood. I worked in Homestead temporarily, early to mid 1990s. Wes Webb, Baby Benji used to be so cute, spewing his Breitbart talking points. Wes Webb, that was judgy. I agree. It was part of a joke. But I gave you a drum sting. Swinter Monkey says, if I sober up, I'm going to blame Trump because he facilitated the invasion of Poland. Karpacki rocks. It's 9% larger than that rocks. Okay, whatever. Jolie, did you ever put my son's link in there? Let me see. I did skip a lot in the chat. Yeah, there. Wait. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you, Jolie. Yeah, there's my son's link. If you guys want to go over there and give him a sub, he's up to 53 now. So it looks like a few of you have gone over there. That's awesome. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, trucklers, for going over there, giving my son a sub. I do appreciate it. I appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, let me go over here real quick. I'm going to keep the link too. I might drop it in again at the end, which is coming up real soon. We've gone over 2 hours, and just to make sure, the mic doesn't die and the phone doesn't die and the thing doesn't die, I'll probably be going off pretty soon here. We've got, I'm just looking, non-useful. Thank you so much. We had a $5 super sticker from non-useful. Wes Webb, member for 8 months. I give Wes Webb a lot of shit, but thank you so much, Wes, for being a member for 8 whole months. And I do appreciate you. And I have fun giving you shit. That's part of the beauty of our relationship. Is you are like my little punching bag, and you're a good enough sport that you've stuck around for 8 months. So hopefully you'll still stick around. Be my punching bag, metaphorically, of course, speaking. Chris Doug says Shapiro goes to college campuses to berate and mock students that are 20 years younger than him and still getting an education. He's a sociopath and a narcissistic pig. I couldn't have said it better myself, Chris Doug. Midas Kevin says the only funny thing I found of him singing your song is when he left his concert saying that's how you sing it on doing Benny and the Jets. Then he comes out singing your song. Like, what? Okay. Let's see. Trickle down economics hasn't worked the last 40 years, but let's give it another go. Yeah. And we saw how Bidenomics was kicking ass. It was kicking so much ass that the mainstream media wouldn't cover it because the mainstream media is owned by billionaires that profit from trickle down. So there you go, The problem in a nutshell, I would say. Think about dear Portuguese in Portugal is much different than in Brazil. Jolie says Wes loves it, Trucker John. Think about dear Wes Webb. I am suspicious of folks with MAGA friends. Nick Rich says you're a strange one, Mr. W. I added I sung it like to the tune of the Grinch. I don't know if Nick Rich was singing that, but you're a strange one, Mr. WW. Rosanna Wimp West laughing out loud. Rubber Rez, will there be a trash talking with Trucker John tomorrow morning? So before anyone goes to church, we'll have the mental ammunition to tell your preacher priest that Trump is the devil, period. Well, I usually take the Lord's Day off, the Lord's Day of rest. We got Boston Brian, if you guys want to go check out Boston Brian. And I'll probably be watching football all day tomorrow. I'll probably order a pizza. And I've still got some Pabst Blue Ribbons in my refrigerator. So that's Trucker John's day. Tomorrow is going to be pizza, beer, and football. I wasn't planning on going live tomorrow. Sunday's kind of my day. That's kind of my day where I watch football and I drink beer and I eat pizza. So, but I'll be, Hal will be back on Monday. I know I've been threatening to do more sort of impromptus since I'm at home more. Maybe I'll pop in on Monday. I don't know. But if not, I will stick to this schedule over here as much as possible. It might be hard to see. It says Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm going to stick to that schedule as close as possible. I think tomorrow I'm going to stick with I kind of like the idea. I'm kind of looking forward to the idea of pizza, beer, and football all day long. I might have to order 2 pizzas tomorrow. I don't know. What are you guys doing tomorrow? Let me know. What are you guys doing? What is your typical Sunday like? Is it like me, pizza, beer, and football? Or is it you hate football and you just go to the park and you feed the ducks? I don't know. And it's all good. Whatever you do, there's no shaming. There's no, there's nothing wrong with whatever it is you do, unless it's as long as you don't hurt anybody else or anything like that. But you know, all right. Scrolling up, let's see here. Where does it land? Big Gridiron Weekend. See, last night I didn't. Oh, I forgot to check out the score. UNLV played Boise State, and UNLV is having a really good season this year. I'm sure Boise State was favored. Yeah, I don't know who won. Non-usual: Little Caesars, Papa John's, Tombstone. Actually, Domino's. I know people. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But Domino's is closest to here, and I get the New York style, and I think it's actually fine. Either that, or there's another place down the street called. It's a local thing. I forget the name of it, and they're pretty good too. So it's one of those two choices. West Webb, I'll watch Boston Brian. Let's see, Diane Loyakono is here. Hey, Diane, good to see you. It says, I love pizza and make a tray every week. Ichabod Deer, Gross, Pizza, those three. Yeah, let's see, well, that was Little Caesars. Papa John's, Tombstone. I don't know if they're gross, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could find a better, like, local pizzeria. But I'm eating Domino's, and Ichabod. I shudder to think what your opinion of Domino's is. You probably think it's horrible. Diane Loicono says no football, no beer. Sorry. Well, that's fine. But what do you do on your typical Sunday? Do you go to church all day? Do you go to the park? Do you get some running in? Do you just read? Spend a day of just maybe reading and kicking back? Do you work? Do you have to actually? Some people work Sundays. I used to work Sundays all the time as a truck driver, of course, but even before that, as a postal worker, if I didn't have my days off, like a lot of times my days off, depending on the bid that I got, I had midday days off. Sometimes I was able to work my way up where I finally got like Friday night and Saturday night off, or Saturday night, Sunday night off. Sometimes people got to work, right? Think about deer. I make my own Sicilian pizza. So good. Well, yeah, if you can make your own, that's probably the best way. Soulcraft says SEC championship game is today. Josh says depends on my schedule what I do Sunday or any day for that matter. I added that for that matter part. Darkly Yours, I like Domino's. Well, there, at least I got one person on my side. At least one. Bruce says putting up Christmas lights outside. Hey, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's that time of the year. This is a good time to do it. Yeah. So yeah, awesome, Bruce. Steve Sayre says Big Hook gets crowded in here. Hey, Steve, good to see you, by the way. Yeah, it gets a little crowded in the old driver's lounge here. Diane Loyacono says, I make Old Forge, Pennsylvania style square tray half sheet. When I think of a square sheet, I think of the old school pizza, right? Everyone loved Pizza Day, and it was in a tray, and it was like, so not a knock against it. Soulcraft, I've been loving Donato's pizza. They're hard to find down here. I don't know. Let's see. Robert Perez, and please, Snoop Dogg is a great guy, but don't follow him into voting for the Gangster Party. That's a new name for the Republican Party. Yeah, I will not follow him there. That's for sure. Non-useful, St. Louis has Imo's Pizza? Mr. Spock, I'm cleaning up the motorcycle work area. Got to start putting a 77 Jawa 350 together. MJ Daniel, Papa Murphy's Take and Bake about a mile away. We usually go for pizza. Isn't that the guy though who owned that? Who was like this total racist dude or something? I don't know. Robert Perez says, "Could Tough Cookie do a Sunday night post SNL game chat?" Let's see what he's. Let's see what he says. What am I hearing? You want me to do a Sunday night post SNL game chat? Robert Perez, do you have any idea that by that time I will be so shit faced, so snockered? I'll probably be passed out, Robert. Come to think of it. Trucker John has to make sure I don't die in my own drool. So I don't think so. Sorry to say. I'm sorry to say I don't think I'm going to be available to do that. Sunday nights I'm usually blackout drunk by then. All right, it's the only thing that's going to get me through the next 4 years, by the way. So unfortunately, Robert, I don't think I'll be available for that. Unless you just want to have the camera on me kind of drifting off and drooling or something. I don't know. Probably not. I'm sorry to say. All right. And I noticed no one asked if I would be willing to do that, but I got to tell you, probably not either. I'm usually really involved with, I've never told anybody this, but I have a knitting club. I do a lot of knitting, and it's like a little get-together on Sunday nights, and so I won't be able to do anything either, unfortunately. Sorry. But you go on without me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe we can talk Trucker John into doing something. Maybe Tough Cookie and we can get together. Maybe we can guilt Trucker John into doing a Sunday night post SNL game chat. Is it Sunday Night Live football? Is that what that is? I don't even know. I'm always knitting and stuff. So, and I don't have any samples to show you of the knitting. It's not going well, by the way. It's not really going well. I might have to change clubs to something else because I'm just not getting the hang of it. I'm not getting the hang of it. So, but anyhow, see you guys later. In fact, I gotta go pack up right now and get my knitting supplies together for tomorrow. Yeah, so those guys, they're not gonna do it. So I don't know. We'll see. Ichabod Deer says Domino's is way better than Papa John's, but Sbarro's blows them. We have Sbarro's. Usually Sbarro's is in the mall or something, but we do have a standalone Sbarro's here in Vegas, and I've gone there and I've had their pizza. It's good. It's good. I really seem to like that Domino's. I know it sounds weird because they're a national chain, and I do remember, and I think I had a big part in changing Domino's for the better. I think it was me, because I remember this was probably, 15 years ago or so. I remember I got a Domino's pizza. It was in Rosamond, California, because I was living in Rosamond. That's where my house was. I went and got a Domino's pizza. This must have been like in the 20-teens or something, 2010 or whatever it was. I don't know. And I remember getting the pizza, taking it home, eating it, biting into it, and it tasted awful. And my first response was, this pizza, it tastes like the cardboard box that it came in, even though I didn't eat the cardboard box. And I think I got, how you get those things like a survey? Either it was on the receipt or it was on the website. If I forget, maybe I ordered the pizza on the website, and then I think I went and picked it up. And they had a survey, and I think on the survey, I wrote on there that I was dissatisfied with the pizza. I thought it tasted like crap. And then they have a thing where you can like free form, like thing and write in there. And I wrote in there. I wrote this pizza. I think here's what I wrote. I think the cardboard box that the pizza came in would have tasted better than this pizza. And I was sort of like off of eating Domino's for like a few years. And then I remember they had a big sort of ad campaign. It was like it was all new Domino's, and they went back to the drawing board and they're making their pizzas better and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try them out. And I tried them out, and lo and behold, the pizza was like a million times better. It was like, yeah, this is good pizza. I really think it was because of me. It was because of my comment. I did the survey and I put the comment in there. In fact, I bet I wouldn't be surprised if like the CEO of Domino's didn't have that framed and hang on his wall. The quote from me that said, and that's a beautiful quote. I think that the cardboard box that the pizza came in would taste better than this pizza. I probably motivated the hell out of them to and I think they did. I think they turned it around because now I eat Domino's all the time. All right, so let's see. I'm scrolling down here. We've got Brenda Triplet here. Jolie, I love bacon, mayo, lettuce, no tomato. So that would be a BML. I don't know. Let's see. Diane Loicano, I can cook, bake, and make you a banger of a rosary. Hilarious because I'm not religious, but I love the art of Roman Catholic Church. Wow. There you go. John Doe, hey, knitting is one of those essential survival skills. We need fabric and fences. Are sort of knitting. Yeah. Yeah, nothing against knitting. I have nothing. I encourage Paul, the purple beard guy. Ichabod Deer, John, it still tastes the same. Your standards are lower now. No. They definitely are better than that pizza that I had when I made that comment. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. Especially when it comes to food. We all have our different opinions on food, so I don't think there's a right or a wrong on that. John Doe, Godfather's pizza was crap. The only Godfathers, they started putting Godfathers in a lot of the truck stops, and they would get these little mini pizzas, and it said Godfather's pizza, and I had a few of those, and they're kind of tasty, but yeah, I mean, it's a truck stop, and you're hungry, and you want to grab something quick, I don't remember if I ever went into a Godfather's actual restaurant. Although I do remember seeing one, I think in Van Nuys, California, a long, long time ago. I might have eaten there like in the freaking 80s or something. I don't know. Jolie thinks, well, the Domino's here in Las Vegas that I've been getting pizza from is actually, it tastes pretty good. So I can't vouch for all the Domino's across the country. And actually, as a truck driver, I did eat at Domino's a few times in the last 5 years, and they were fine to me. I don't know. Maybe I just have low standards. I don't know. But like I said, we all have our different opinions and tastes and whatever. No, Ichabod Deer, Domino's pizza is like no, not even. Not even. I've had this. I haven't had the 7-Eleven sushi or whatever, but I've had the 7-Eleven pizza, and that's horrible. Yeah. And didn't you, Ichabod, just say that Domino's earlier? I don't know. Whatever. But no, to compare that to the 7-Eleven sushi, that's absurd. It's one thing to have your own opinions, and we all have different tastes, but that's going way too far. And it's almost bordering on snooty and snobby at this point. You know, you can like what you like, but to downgrade it to that level, that's overkill. And it really makes me think that you're not being genuine. You're being disingenuous just to get a laugh or something. He said it's better than Papa John's. I mean, some people, your taste is so it just borders on snobbery, you know. Anyhow, all right. Before I alienate the entire viewing audience here, I'm gonna end the show. Thanks everybody for watching. We had a pretty good crowd today. I doubt I'll be on tomorrow. I maybe we'll drop it on Monday, but for sure with the schedule, we'll be doing that schedule for sure. You guys were great. Actually, you guys were pretty good today, except for the pizza talk with the snobbery, your snobby tastes. But other than that, you guys were great. So in the meantime, though, you guys hang in there. Like I keep saying, I know we're in for a rough ride, bumpy ride here. Let's do our best, and let's hope that we can only hope that our biggest concerns will be whether or not Domino's Pizza is edible or not. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have much bigger concerns and worries over these next few years. So let's hang in there. Let's stick together. Let's not let our pizza our pizza disagreements tear us apart. Let's hang in there and let's fight fascism by fighting MAGA and fighting Trump. Let's turn him away in every possible way that we can. Let's be. It's time for us to be the obstructionists. Let's think about that national strike. When should we do it? Let's just do it. Let's just pick a date and just say we're going to do it. And even if only 55 of us or whatever do it, well, then fuck it. You know, what can I say? Maybe we should have a national strike. Maybe December 17th. I don't know why I picked that date. I don't even know what day of the week that is. I didn't look at a calendar. But you guys let me know what you guys think. We should instigate a national strike where we don't go to work, we don't go shopping, we don't buy gas, we just stay at home and watch Trucker John all day or whatever. I don't know. Rosanna's here, says thanks, cutie. Trucker John, love you, bro. Thank you, Rosanna. Thanks for the nice words. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Wes Webb, for being here. Ichabod, thank you for being here. Surrender Monkey, Wes Webb. Mine is Kevin. I'm just looking at the list here. Non-useful. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for Aaron and Jolie for being here and modding for me and watching my back and all that good stuff. And before I leave, though, always, as is kind of tradition now, I have to impart you with some really words of wisdom. Trucker John words of wisdom here, and this is stuff that you can take with you, and it's going to help and benefit your life. So just remember this: get your pen, get your paper, get it ready. Here's your words of wisdom to get you through the rest of your life. Okay, here we go. So just remember, guys, that as you wander on.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I try to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully. Nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about gold chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you, baby, to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving. Who am I trying to kid? At least when I was out there driving, I could handle the skid. Doing this live stream, baby, it's been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again, right here on the Trucker John live stream. We gonna do it again and again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all